So in today's video, we're going to talk about the MBA application timeline, what you should expect throughout the entire MBA application process, and how the timeline is going to look like for you. So let's get right into the video. Hello guys, I am MS Zico, and MBA application season is right around the corner. So I think it's the right time to watch this video. What you should expect throughout the entire MBA application process as an international student, and what that timeline is going to look like for you, right? So we're going to divide this video into two parts. First part, we're going to talk about your application checklist as an international applicant, and second part, we're going to talk about the timeline of the entire MBA process, how much time you should budget for each step, and what you should expect throughout those different steps, right? So as concerns your MBA application checklist as an international applicant, there you're going to have translation of all your documents not originally in English, course by course credential evaluation of all your academic transcripts, your scores for English language proficiency tests, your scores for your graduate record examination or graduate management admissions test, your CV, your recommendation letters, your essays, as well as your application fees. All of these are going to be elements that you would be required to provide throughout your entire MBA application process. So make sure that when it comes down to the documents, you already have them at hand. When it comes down to the scores that you need to provide, make sure you're taking them a couple of weeks before the application process, before the application process starts, or a couple of weeks before the deadline of the application cycle or the application round you're going in for. So when it comes down to application timeline, what are you going to expect, right? So you're going to start off here by it's somewhere around July, mid-July, late July, where the application for the application cycle starts, really, right? At this point, schools have already closed the previous application cycle. MD admission offices are already ramping in on the fares and travel preparations to market their programs all over the globe. So this is where you should start focusing, start thinking about where you're going to go for your MBA, start going through the research, through the entire research process of your MBA application, of your MBA application. So that's where we're going to start. How you're going to research your MBA programs. I would say here that budget anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks. On the conservative end, let's say 2 weeks. 2 weeks should be more than enough to do ample research on all the programs that you have at hand. I would advise you here to use resources such as Princeton Review and adme.me in order to fine-tune your criteria, your search criteria for your MBA for your MBA programs. You will be able to use adme.me to see how well your profile fits in with previous graduating classes at the various MBA programs. Using Princeton Review, you will have the opportunity to appreciate the various MBA programs beyond the national ranking, right? With Princeton Review, you're able to see the rankings per concentration. You're able to see additional data when it comes down to the proportion of international applicants that are admitted in various programs. You'll be able to see the financial package that is offered to students and how many students actually end up getting a financial support from the school, right? So if that's something that you're really into, you'll be able to get those data on gender parity, on diversity of culture and inclusion for each MBA program. So really take care to use Princeton Review, take care to use adme.me. It's really going to help your process. Once you've fine-tuned your list of MBA programs, you have your list of target schools that you're applying to. Let's say you have a list of 7 to 9 schools. You say, okay, I think I can apply to these 7 to 9 schools. What I'm going to advise you, build an Excel sheet. You can find in the description box below a link to the Excel sheet that I am using for my MBA application process, and that I would invite you to use too. Enter the names of the school. You also have a space to see the average GMAT score per school, to see the application fee, to see the deadline for the first round, for the first round applications to be in, and an area for comments as well. Put all of that down, and you'll be able to track the programs that you've gotten in contact with, the programs that you've already applied to, the programs you've already attended, an online MBA fair for, and you'll be able to see all the information that you already have for each program, right? And moving on from this list, if you so much as feel like cutting down the list, shortlisting it from maybe 9 to 4, you would have enough information to compare all the schools amongst themselves. So that's also something that you can look out for. Beyond the shortlisting and the selection of beyond the selection and the shortlisting of all the MBA programs that you already have, the next step would actually be to apply. So yeah, it's pretty standard throughout. Every MBA program has its own portal of application. Contrary to applying for undergraduate studies in the US, applying to graduate school in the US, every school has its own portal. So if you're applying to say Villanova, you have to go to Villanova and apply. If you're applying to Chicago Booth, you have to go to the website of Chicago Booth and apply specifically for the MBA program, and so on and so forth, depending on the school. There you're going to make sure that, like I said before, all the documents that you need, that on your checklist, that you already have them, because you're going to be required to submit all of them. And I will take here to say that a document like the course by course credential evaluation, if you don't already have them, you're going to have a very tough time. If your school is a school that does not really understand the process of getting the credential evaluation, the whole credential evaluation for your academic transcripts, I'll tell you from personal experience that I had to spend over 4 months to get my academic transcripts to be evaluated. And that's in no fault on the evaluating agency, but so much more on the part of the school, where there was this whole process where for the evaluating agency to proceed with evaluation of my transcripts, they needed to receive a confirmation email from my alma mater stating that I was a student, I passed through the school, and the results, the transcripts that they have are my transcripts, and that it corresponds to what is in the school database. Unfortunately, my alma mater took a hell of time to provide those information, somewhere around 3 months and a half. And it's only 4 months after putting in the initial request that I got my evaluation. So I'll advise you to start this process as early as possible, to be in touch with your alma mater as well as the evaluating agency, so that you can follow up and make sure that everything goes on fine. So all in all, assuming that you have all the documents at hand, assuming that you've already taken your official test, that's language proficiency and the GMAT or GRE, prior to beginning your application, I would say that it's reasonable for you to complete your entire application within 3 weeks to 5 weeks. The biggest challenge here, beyond the credentialing of your academic transcripts, which you should have already done, would be the essay writing. I personally spend, when I'm writing essays for business school, personally I'm spending anywhere between 12 to 15 hours per essay. And you should also take into account the fact that the more schools you're writing to, the more essays you have to write. So that's really where there's going to be an added or a prolonged attention of the prolonged attention. That's really where there's going to be a prolonged use of your efforts and your time when throughout the entire application process. Once you're done with every step, you have filled in all the application forms, you have gotten your letters of recommendation, you've gotten your essays in, you have all the documents, and you have already submitted the documents as well as your official test scores. Then you just proceed to pay your fees, and once the fees all the fees are paid and your applications are gone, All you have to do basically is sit tight and wait. If you go on each school's website, there is a specific date that is set by which you should be hearing from the admissions committee. You would either receive an invitation for a 30 to 45 minutes phone interview, or you're going to be politely refused from the program. And whichever response you get, I would just encourage you to keep up with what you're doing. Do a little bit more each time, and if you ever need more help, you can come back to this channel, because there is going to be a ton more content to help international applicants like yourself to apply to business school in the United States. And if you want to go beyond what this video is giving you right now, and beyond what all the other videos on the channel are providing you, I would invite you to visit my blog. Link is in the description box below. I've written a ton of articles on the application process to business school in the US, tips and tricks and good practices that I've learned throughout the application cycle that I did in 2022, and that you can also use for your own application cycle. So with the hope that all of this has helped you and is going to prove to be very valuable during your application cycle, I do wish you the best, and see you next time. If you're admitted, please feel free to come back and gloat, and let's cheer about you in the comment section below. Right? Peace.